Grigory Rasputin, 1869 to 1916, was a Siberian-born peasant who underwent a religious conversion as a teenager and later became a wandering holy man and a self-proclaimed mystic and healer. His religious fervor combined with his personal charisma brought him to the attention of some of the Russian Orthodoxy and senior members of the imperial family, who introduced Rasputin to Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra in 1906. By 1908, he had won favor with the Tsar and Tsarina through his ability to stop the bleeding of their son Alexei, who suffered from hemophilia. Despite being widely condemned by the public as a charlatan for his drunkenness and debauchery, Rasputin wielded great power and influence over the ruling family, particularly with the Tsarina, who was convinced of his mystical healing abilities, and rumors swirled that the two were lovers. When Nicholas left to lead Russian forces during World War I, Rasputin effectually ruled the country through Alexandra, which only added to the perceived corruption and chaos of the Romanov regime. As the war continued, outlandish stories about the monk expanded to include a treasonous plot with Germany, an effort to start a cholera epidemic in St. Petersburg with poisoned apples, and lurid tales about Rasputin and the Tsar's young daughters. Many within the Russian nobility and the Church Orthodoxy became fearful of Rasputin's growing power and control, and there was a demand to have him removed by any means necessary. In an effort to rid the court and the country of Rasputin's influence, a group of nobles, led by Prince Felix Yusupov, the richest man in Russia and the husband of the Tsar's only niece, and Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, the Tsar's first cousin, plotted the monk's demise. On the night of December 29, 1916, Yusupov and Pavlovich lured Rasputin to Moika Palace in St. Petersburg. The would-be killers first gave the monk food and wine laced with cyanide. However, when Rasputin seemingly failed to respond to the poison, they shot him at close range and left him for dead. In spite of these murderous measures, Rasputin revived shortly thereafter and made an attempt to flee the palace grounds, only to be intercepted by his assailants, who shot him again and viciously beat him. They then bound Rasputin, who was remarkably still alive, and threw him into the freezing Neva River. His battered body was found several days later, and it was reported that there was water in his lungs, indicating that he finally died by drowning. Yusupov wrote the most well-known account of Rasputin's murder in his memoir, originally published in 1928. He wrote, "This devil who was dying of poison, who had a bullet in his heart, must have been raised from the dead by the powers of evil. There was something appalling and monstrous in his diabolical refusal to die." Before the murder, Yusupov had lived a relatively frivolous life of privilege. Plotting Rasputin's death had given him the opportunity to reinvent himself as a patriot, determined to protect the throne and restore the reputation of the monarchy. Yusupov and his co-conspirators hoped the removal of Rasputin would make Nicholas I more open to the advice of the nobility and the Duma, giving him a final chance to save the monarchy. However, the monk's murder did not lead to any radical changes of the Tsar and Tsarina's politics, leading up to the start of the Russian Revolution in March 1917. To the Bolsheviks, Rasputin symbolized the corruption at the heart of imperial rule, and they viewed his murder as an attempt by the nobility to stay in power at the expense of the proletariat. Rasputin, a name that evokes intrigue and fascination, was a mystic and advisor who held a mysterious influence over the Romanov dynasty in Russia. This enigmatic figure's life and impact on the royal family have captivated historians and the public alike. In this article, we will delve into Rasputin's life, his rise to prominence, the controversies surrounding him, and his ultimate downfall. Join us on this journey as we unravel the secrets behind the man known as Rasputin. 1. Early life and spiritual awakening. Rasputin, whose birth name was Grigory Yefimovich Novik, was born on January 21, 1869, in the small village of Pokrovskoye, Siberia. He grew up in humble circumstances, and little is known about his early life. However, it is believed that Rasputin had a spiritual awakening during his teenage years, which led him on a path of religious devotion and mysticism. 2. The encounter with the Romanovs. In 1905, Rasputin made his way to St. Petersburg, where he came into contact with the Russian imperial family. The Romanovs, particularly Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra, sought Rasputin's assistance to alleviate the suffering of their son, Alexei, who suffered from hemophilia. Rasputin's ability to calm the young heir's condition made him indispensable to the royal couple. 3. Rise to power. Rasputin's influence grows. As Rasputin's reputation as a healer and spiritual advisor spread, his influence over the Romanovs expanded. He gained access to the highest echelons of Russian society, despite his unorthodox behavior and questionable reputation. Rasputin's ability to predict future events, coupled with his magnetic personality, made him an influential figure in the Russian court. 4. Scandal and controversy. Rasputin's presence in the royal court was not without controversy. His unorthodox lifestyle, heavy drinking, and rumored promiscuity fueled the gossip and speculation of the Russian nobility. Many considered him a charlatan and an opportunist, using his influence over the Tsarina to further his own interests. 5. Political intrigue. Rasputin and the Russian court. As World War I ravaged Russia, Rasputin's involvement in political affairs became more pronounced. He wielded his influence over the Tsarina to make appointments and influence key decisions. This led to resentment among the nobility and further tarnished Rasputin's reputation. Political opponents saw him as a threat to the stability of the Russian Empire. 6. The fall of Rasputin. The demise of Rasputin came in December 1916 when a group of nobles, fearing his growing influence, conspired to end his life. After several failed attempts, Rasputin was finally assassinated on the night of December 29, 1916. His death marked the end of an era and sparked further political unrest in Russia. 7. Legacy and historical impact. Rasputin's influence over the Romanovs and his role in Russian history cannot be understated. His enigmatic persona and controversial actions have fueled countless theories and legends. The downfall of the Romanov dynasty and the subsequent Russian Revolution in 1917 further solidified Rasputin's place in history as a symbol of the monarchy's corruption and decay. 8. Conclusion. In conclusion, Rasputin's life and mysterious influence over the Romanovs continue to captivate our imagination. From his humble beginnings to his rise as a trusted advisor, Rasputin's journey is one of intrigue and controversy. Although he met a tragic end, his legacy lives on, reminding us of the complex dynamics between power, faith, and human nature. Hope so you like our video. Please subscribe our channel for further updates.